Hello, my name is Chita and I'm a high school student from Transylvania. I wanted to make this video because the best way for you to understand who I am is to actually see what I do. Physics and engineering are at the center of my life, whether that means building circuits, doing astrophotography, or diving into theoretical ideas that keep me awake at night. Over the next few minutes, I'd like to show you some of the projects I've built, the research I've worked on, the people I've collaborated with, and honestly, the things I work on just for fun, as I feel like they're an integral part of my personality and interests. So, without further ado, let's begin. In 5th grade, I built my first electronic circuit, a Slurry-excited Tesla coil, followed by 8 improved versions, including a musical MOSFET-driven interrupted design. Later, I constructed a high-frequency solid-state Tesla coil, or FHSSTC, using high-power MOSFETs and salvage radio parts. The plasma you can see on screen reaches temperatures of over 3000 degrees Celsius and can melt most metals, almost tungsten even. But the coolest part is that due to the very high frequency of operation, it doesn't shock. That makes for a cool party trick, I'm telling you. I also built a ZVS driver that powered an induction heater and an AC high voltage power supply, because when you can have 20,000 volts at your disposal, why wouldn't you? By 11th grade, I became fascinated by electromagnetism and high frequencies, so I started tinkering with the radio electronics. I built an FM transmitter, an AM tube transmitting station, meant to imitate a real broadcasting station.
This is me talking over the radio with the use of my radio station.
2 AM tube radios, and a crystal radio with a 20-meter long antenna. I also designed and built a satellite receiver system capable of capturing Earth images directly from NOAA 15 and 19 weather satellites. It was a lot of fun climbing mountains to chase satellites across the sky with a suspicious-looking antenna, while dozens of people watched from behind, wondering what on earth I was doing. But I digress. Turning to very low frequencies, I designed a VLF receiver that detects solar flares from Earth. I had the amazing opportunity of publishing 2 conference papers on this project and presented my findings at 2 international conferences in Paris and in Bulgaria. I had the opportunity of meeting many awesome people there, and for the first time I got the flavor of what it was like to be part of a scientific community. I felt like I really found my tribe. I also participated with my project at the International Conference of Young Scientists, ICYS, 2025 in Thailand, where I earned the gold medal and first prize in the physics category. As a side hobby, I enjoy restoring old vacuum tube radios and giving them back their old voice. I've restored radios as old as 97 years, like this German one that I managed to get to work after all of this time. After an internship at CERN 2 years ago, I became fascinated with relativity and particle physics, so I built a Geiger counter around an advanced alpha beta gamma radiation probe that I found on eBay. It was challenging to code since it needed to handle up to 1 million counts per minute with a very basic processor. I used it for radiological surveying, and I was actually able to detect radon levels inside my basement and watch the decay curve of the daughter products. I developed an interest in astrophotography after finding out about Comet E3's ETF. That night, when the comet passed, I made my father drive 3 hours through a snowstorm to a mountain with clear skies, not knowing anything about astrophotography, trying to capture an image of the passing comet. After that night, I was hooked, so not long after, I bought my first telescope. To capture crisp sky images, I modified my basic telescope extensively, designing a new spider, mirror holder. I even modified the DSLR and repainted the tube. I also had to download large sky catalogs. I learned new software, wrote code, and troubleshoot problems for over a year before I captured my first high-quality image. It paid off though. I've since managed to capture Comet Kamara-Saduzanovic, being only one of the few people in the world to photograph it. I even wrote a Wikipedia article about it, showcasing my images and a video of the comet moving across the sky. Here are some other images I managed to capture since then. Speaking of telescopes, a few months ago I started building a mount for a radio telescope in Marichel, in collaboration with Professor Paul Dolea from the Technical University of Cluj-Napoca. The mount has to support a 4-meter parabolic antenna that will capture radio signals from distant galaxies and mainly from the Sun. We've even considered the possibility of using it to detect pulsars, but that's a project for another day. I was also mentored by a researcher from the Physics Institute in Cluj on mastering the software Eagle and designing and printing PCBs. Using my knowledge and guidance from Dr. Surdukan, I then designed and manufactured the PCB for a proton spin magnetometer, a project that I am currently working on. Besides physics and electronics, I also love chemistry, and for about 6 years now, I have had an ongoing quest of trying to extract all of the elements of the periodic table, myself, from household chemicals or things I could get my hands on. Well, the elements that wouldn't kill me at least. Anyway, I got quite a few at this point. I have things like sulfur that I mined myself, sodium that I electrolyzed from molten lye, potassium that I distilled, mercury that I extracted directly from ore, and manganese for which I used an arc welder to get. For me, physics and building electronics are passions, not chores. Unfortunately, many students find these subjects intimidating. But I've made it my mission to show others that physics isn't just equations, but a way to ask deep questions about the world and see it differently. To share that excitement, I started presenting my projects and science fairs like Noaptea Cercetătorilor Cluj-Napoca, the Night of Researchers, and Zilele Clujului, Cluj Days. I also gave physics demos at local schools and camps.
Un fel de un rezonator de înaltă frecvență, asemănător cu stațiile de transmisie radio sau cu un microunde, e undeva între.
Even though physics is my great love, my life has other sides to it too. I always enjoy a quiet hike or a casual nature walk, or even better, an evening fishing on the lake. Besides these, I really enjoy painting. I was lucky to be mentored by a professional artist for about 6 years. From my mentor, I learned not only technique, but also how to find a style that fits me, my tastes, my way of seeing the world, and the way I like to express myself. My style sits somewhere between realism and impressionism. I'm especially drawn towards impressionism because it gives the world a kind of fluidity and freedom that feels very different from the precision demanded by electronics, formulas, and measurements. Painting lets me step away from the exactness and instead see the world through feelings, intuition, and broad brushstrokes rather than the sharp details of physics laws. I usually paint traditional subjects and objects from my home country, Romania, trying to connect with my culture and with the past.
In summary, I see physics as my main path in life. My big dream is to become a physics researcher and to make some important contributions to science. I hope you'll give me this opportunity to follow this path and chase my dream, allowing me to seek the deepest truths of the universe, immersed in and guided by your excellent community of professors and students. Thank you very much. P.S. All of the audio you've been listening to in this video was recorded on this ribbon mic that I built.